And cats and boots 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 and cats. The holiday season is here, and that means it is time for episode 6 of my animated movie tier list series. And this one is super duper special because if you couldn't already tell by everything on screen, we are doing all holiday themed movies. Or as I said in my recent Vlogmas you should go watch because you can see everything that I decorated here, I called it Holimated, like holiday animated. So, big brain moment, okay? And by holiday, I do mean holidays that people celebrate, like Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, and not holiday like the UK holiday, like going on vacation, you know, summertime cruising with the boys and girls. Because in that case, you should probably watch episode 5. Well, you should watch all the previous episodes. But stay tuned for this one, of course. But we are talking about winter holiday movies in this one, so get ready because everything is Wait. So get ready because everything is better on the Polar Express. Thrifted.
Slay!
Except that she's actually gonna get her very own video. Yes, I've never done a video on just one movie before. So I'm gonna go full Mike's Mike on this one because this is one of my all-time favorite movies and I know it's cursed. Okay? That must be why I love horror movies now. I also want to do dedicated videos for Barbie and the Nutcracker, Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus, Eloise at Christmas Time, and a few others, so that'll be in the future. That's not in this video. Let's focus on this video. So the actual first movie that we are going to be reviewing for today's animated movie tier list episode is actually a recommendation from one of you. Everything in this series, I always put this question. I'm like,
hey y'all, do you have any recommendations?
And this was, you know, the first recommendation ever. So thank you, and shout out to you, Anakai Bites. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but thank you so much. Thank you for the support. Only one of my earrings works, but little disclaimer. Even though these animated movies are mainly targeted towards kids, this video, along with the rest of my content, is not made for kids. I'm giving my full honest review and thoughts about everything, and there will be some spoilers, so this is your fair warning. And very quickly, I am urging you to check out those very important links down below in the pinned comment, in the description, and always in my bio. Please stay up to date about what is happening around the world, and remember to treat people the way you want to be treated. Keep using your privilege, keep using your voice, and keep using your platform. If you are watching this here on YouTube, that means you already have a platform, so please use it. Share important information and do not stay silent. I thank you for listening, and now let's get into episode 6 of this animated movie tier list series. And happy holidays! Quick outfit change. Ooh. So the very first movie that we will be reviewing today is the recommendation from Anakai Bites, and that is Arthur Christmas, which came out on November 23rd, 2011 from Sony Pictures. It's bath time for baby. Her toes are spread. So with my tier list series, I have my own array of questions that helps me narrow everything down so that I can better rank it on the tier list. So the very first question is, what are the overall ratings and age group for the movie? And that is PG, which stands for Pleasantly Gallant. Is this movie entertaining, and does it keep my attention? It most certainly is entertaining. Watching this movie makes me feel like Olive, my cat, when she's watching squirrels on my laptop. I don't know what I was expecting, but this is a straight up action-packed movie, like it is G-Force, but with elves. So let me give you a quick rundown. This movie starts out showing a cute little village, and it actually looks like it's straight out of a goat story. But it's actually Cornwall, England. And I don't know why they call it that because I didn't see any walls made of corn. So the plot of this movie, it's basically about Santa Claus. You know Santa Claus? Yeah. You know how he delivers toys to every child on Christmas night Well, that's what he's doing, except that he forgot a child. Because the conveyor belt like got messed up or something in the little toy factory. It's not little. Nothing in this movie is little. It's we'll get into that. A bike accidentally falls off the conveyor belt and it is forgotten, and Santa, well, he didn't deliver anything to this little kid, Gwen, in Cornwall, England. So then we have Arthur, and he is one of Santa's sons, the youngest son, and he wants to make sure that little Gwen gets her bike so she isn't heartbroken and forgotten about, and she wakes up Christmas morning, goes downstairs, looks under the tree, and there is nothing for her. She did not get what Santa asked, so he has to make sure that that does not happen. So in the meantime, we have Steve. Not Steve the monkey. Steve! He is Who? He is Santa's eldest son, and you can tell that he's older because he has gray hair. But he is actually next in line to be the Santa. He is Santa in training, okay? His outfit? That's a choice. And one thing about Steve is that he really wants to make sure that Christmas is perfect in a way. Although the major thing is that he doesn't even care about these kids. He does not care that Gwen was forgotten. He's like, uh-oh. Whoopsie. I made a mistake. Uh-oh. And he wants to be Santa. So then Arthur and one of the elves named Bryony? Bryony? And the prior Santa, Grand Santa, which is Arthur and Steve's grandpa, current Santa's dad, ex-Santa, yeah, they all go together on a little mission that isn't so little because it becomes a rather big thing. Lots of things are happening, but they go on a mission to deliver this little bike that was left behind to Gwen in Cornwall, England, where there isn't any corn. So quickly, this movie, Arthur Christmas, is quite literally the same thing as the movie Noel with Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader. Highly recommend. Very good movie. Because right off the bat, we have Arthur, who is basically the same character as Anna Kendrick. I forgot her name. Noel. Her name's Noel. So Arthur is like Noel. And that's only because he's like quite literally the only person who truly cares for the kids and wants Christmas to be holly and jolly, and he actually wants to connect with the kids. He reads all their letters just like Anna Kendrick does, and she writes back to them. And honestly, did the creators of Noel copy this movie? The world will never know. And then we have Arthur's brother, Steve, who is basically like Bill Hader, and both of their characters just want to commercialize everything, and they don't really care about being Santa.
So, I'm not great with children. Does that make me a bad Santa?
Oh yeah, Bill Hader's character is also next in line to be the next Santa, and they just look past the younger sibling. But also in that movie, Noel, pretty misogynistic. They didn't want a girl to be Santa. Pretty much the same movie. Did I laugh out loud like Hilary Duff? Yeah, to my surprise, I did. I was giggling and ha-ha-hee-ing like Hilary Duff in A Cinderella Story.
Laugh out loud.
I want to hear your laugh.
I think I've only seen this movie once, and I don't even know if I saw the whole movie, but that was 14 years ago when it first came out, and I think I've really only seen the movie because they played so many trailers for it all the time, but rightfully so because this movie is very good. This movie is jam-packed with comedic moments, and I wasn't expecting my funny bone to be tickled this much, okay? One of the funniest characters in this movie is Grand Santa, the grandpa, the ex-Santa. He has no filter. Half of the things that he said made me slap my hand over my mouth because I was in disbelief.
Oh, my head! Ye baubles, a beautiful young reindeer. So who am I then?
Very funny character, but also there are so many comedic moments that happen in the background with like background characters, and so much funny body language. Like literally one of the last scenes, it is so funny. Spoiler alert, Gwen gets her bike. Slay! But obviously no one is allowed to see Santa but Arthur isn't technically Santa at this moment in the movie. Sorry, did I mention there are spoilers? And when he delivers the bike to Gwen, she runs outside because she's like,
Was Santa just here?
that's how she sounds. Although she's British, so she's like, was Santa just here? And Arthur is trying to climb up a tree to go to the sleigh, but then he falls down, and then the snow gives him like a beard and white hair, and then the wind catches his red jacket, so it looks like he has a big belly. Okay, that's funny. That is funny. Did I cry? Yes, I cried. I crewed and I crowed. But yeah, no, I actually did. I did cry. Not because this movie is sad. Like, it's so heartwarming. It is so magical, whimsical. It just oozes good Christmas spirit, you know? And I literally felt like I was a tiny tot watching this movie. Hashtag tears of joy. Is the soundtrack good? I think it's good. It's just, it's nothing special, but it is still very whimsical and magical, and it adds to the movie. In a lot of kids' movies, they love to add popular radio songs. I don't know, I don't think kids listen to the radio anymore. But like popular songs that everyone knows. Just to like, you know, engage the kids and the parents and whatnot. But this movie didn't do that, but it didn't take away from anything. Not that a movie needs to have music that you know. It's refreshing to not have that. Is it made for all ages? This movie is made for the whole family. Some animated movies are obviously made for 3-year-olds. We've definitely reviewed some of those kinds of movies in this series, that's for sure. But no, this movie is made for everyone. The whole family will enjoy because it is so action-packed. Olive, you guys want to see Olive?
I love you.
Oh, but yeah, this movie is just so action-packed and extremely funny. There are jokes for everyone. Everyone will be cackling. Hee 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 ha 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 ha, you know? But also, it is so heartwarming. Like, this is a Fast and Furious family movie, okay? For real, for real. And they have representation because they had 2 gay elves kissing, okay? Gay rights.
Be who you are for your pride.
How is the character design in writing? I actually really enjoy it for this movie. Obviously, with so many children's animated movies, a lot of the humanoid characters look the same. A lot of them look the same. And this isn't what you would typically see in an animated movie, so A+ for individuality. But before I even watched this movie to like rank it and everything, I was just looking at the posters and the characters instantly reminded me of Romeo and Juliet, which we did rank in episode 3? I will have all previous episodes linked down below. And if you didn't know, Romeo and Juliet is actually a UK movie, so I think that's just like the British art style for animation. I don't know. ... That's what I wrote before I watched the movie, and then I did some research, and then I found out that the animators wanted the characters to look British, so I was right. They do look British. There's just something so British about them, you know? Beans on toast. Pip pip. Cheerio. One Direction. Big Ben. Oh, Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell and The Great Fairy Rescue. What's that movie? With the British girl and her British father. How is the world design? I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Everything from the North Pole in general, it is so magical, as it should be. But literally from Santa's workshop and the elf control room and the little reindeer area and the like conveyor belt room that quite literally looks like the Polar Express. Did they copy the Polar Express? And then we have Arthur's letter room where he writes back to all the kids because he actually cares. Everything is so beautiful and magical and just wonderful. But one thing is the actual Claus's house, their home. They really only show their dining room, and then there's this room that Grand Santa, ex-Santa, sits in so that he can view everything that the current Santa is doing, like when he's delivering gifts and everything, which I think is very funny. But both of those rooms, they look so drab and like cold and not cozy, not festive. And I'm like, that is not a Hallmark movie. And then we even see the beautiful town of Trulu, Mexico. Oh, but they went to the wrong Trulu, you know, wrong area on planet Earth, hello? So that was very funny. But then they actually went to England, Trulu in England. Any misogyny or bigotry? No. I did not bat an eye, my ear did not catch anything, my muscles did not twitch with cringe. There was nothing bad. This is a fabulous movie, and I have said this in a few other episodes about a few different movies, but for whatever reason, some people think that by adding slightly offensive to fully offensive jokes, that counts as humor? No, it does not. So this movie does a very good job with comedy. Who is the antagonist? I was originally going to say that it was Steve, which is Arthur's older brother, the next Santa in line, or the next, yeah, whatever. Because, yeah, he literally doesn't care about the kids. He's just so stuck up. He is not Santa. He's not Santa. Hashtag not my Santa, not my Roderick. That movie was so unfortunate. I would love to do a video on all 3 Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies. I love those movies. But for the antagonist in the bigger picture, it is actually Chief De Silva, who I wasn't even really paying attention to because when it would switch to like, where do they work? UNFIDA, which stands for United Northern Federal International Treaty Alliance. UNFIDA sounds like unfit, which is pretty much what the people in the military are. They're unfit to protect anyone. If you know, you know. Stop living under a rock if you don't know. But whenever it would like switch to her, like she works in the military and then everything is just so boring and drab and like nobody wants to see that. So I was kind of looking at my phone at moments like that. But right off the bat, I knew I didn't like her. Like she's not a good girl boss. Yeah, she was literally ordering jets, like not Jets Pizza, jets, like planes, fire and rescue. No, she was ordering jets to like launch missiles and like fire at the sleigh just because they thought it was a UFO, which technically I guess it was an unidentified flying object. Fun fact, that's what UFO stands for.
We need a sign or our sled. Sorry, I can't pay you. Where I come from, we don't have money.
One of the funniest things about this movie is that both the sleighs, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. The sleigh that Arthur, Grand Santa, and Bryony, the elf that they take together is Grand Santa's sleigh, which is like the classic sleigh. But the current sleigh that they are using for the current Santa and then the upcoming Santa, it's so amazing. It is ginormous. It is monstrous. It's huge. Bigger than the super colossal Mega Titan. Like, I'm not even kidding, it's that big. And it is so funny because it looks like a giant sleigh. And the bottom of it can basically, it can mimic the sky above it. So it's like see-through to people below. They don't even know it's there, but it is so funny. It's so funny because there are a ton of tiny little dots. Like, you think they're little dots, you think they're stars, but they're actually holes for the elves to go down because the elves actually deliver the presents, because Santa actually doesn't do shit in this movie. Like the current Santa. I'm sorry, there are so many Santas I'm talking about, and I hope you understand. Hashtag bring back the real Santa. But anyways, going back to the sleigh that Arthur, Grand Santa, and Bryony Elf are in, it's the classic sleigh, but it also has like a cloaking device, and it can transform into many different things, one of which is an actual UFO. So that was very funny. It can also transform into like a house and like, what was it, a bus? It does, it's funny. It's funny.
So, what do they call this place? Toronto.
Is the casting and characters all white? So the characters, I mean the main characters are all white, and then I don't really know the Arthur Christmas lore. Like, I watched the movie, but of course they don't explain every single little thing in the movie. But there are many elves from like all around the world. Like, we see a Scottish elf, or maybe he's Irish. There are elves from all over the world, so I guess in that sense it is diverse. And then the humans, we don't really see like a lot of humans, so I don't know. I guess for the most part, sure. But the casting, no. Though we do have the voice actor who plays Arthur, that is James McAvoy. We all know him. You may love him. You may not like him if you've seen the movie Split, which I have not seen. I don't know if I ever want to see that, because I've heard it's like ee-oo, ee-oo. But James McAvoy, aka Professor X, aka Charles Xavier, aka the principal for the School of Mutants, is Arthur. And then looking at the casting list, there's the guy from the show House. I didn't know his name is actually House, like that's his last name. Sure. And then a bunch of other people who I have never seen before, and then I clicked on their credentials and I'm like, sorry, I don't know you. There's Charles Xavier and House. Does the film speak on any relevant issues, morals, or topics? So throughout the movie, it is stated many times that Gwen, the child who was forgotten, never got her toy, yada yada, that she doesn't matter because she's just one person. But Arthur stands his ground, and he stays true to his morals. And even after facing many obstacles, he still finds a way to deliver this toy to Gwen because she matters. And she wrote that letter to Santa, and he did not even deliver it. Hello. But yeah, the whole moral is that every person matters. Every child matters. Every single human being matters, no matter how old you are, how young you are, where you live, what you do. Be who you are for your pride. Every person matters, okay? Unless you're a bigot, then maybe Krampus will get you. Do I refer to this movie in everyday life? No. When I'm done watching, how do I feel? I clapped. Not my cheeks, but my hands, because this movie was actually really good. No, but for real, it is so heartwarming. It perfectly captures the spirit of Christmas, the whimsy of winter. It is so action-packed. It is so funny. It's just a really good, unique story that really dives into the age-old question of how does Santa deliver all those toys to all the kids around the world? All around the world, people want to be loved, which just goes back to the moral of the lesson. Everybody everywhere. Clap your hands. Clap your hands. Everybody matters, okay? And finally, to rate this movie and rank it in the tier list, where am I gonna put it? I will easily put this at the top in the perfect family harmony. And one more shout out to Anakai Bites for this wonderful recommendation. Thank you so very much. I really enjoyed watching this. So the very next movie that we will be reviewing today is 8 Crazy Nights, and this came out on November 27th, 2002 from Happy Madison Productions. So this is not a Christmas movie, it is actually a Hanukkah movie, and to my knowledge, I think this is the only Hanukkah movie I've ever seen so far. let's get into it. So first and foremost, what are the ratings and overall age group for this movie? It is actually rated PG-13. Yeah, I don't know who gave it that rating. I wouldn't show this to a 13-year-old. Let's dive in. So this movie, 8 Crazy Nights, was actually created by Adam Sandler in 2002. And those two things mixed together, red flags everywhere. So basically this movie is about the main character, Davy Stone, aka Adam Sandler, and if I had to describe his character in one word or phrase or just anything like that, it would be the poop emoji. And that is putting it nicely. And Davy is constantly getting himself tangled up with the law because he is an alcoholic, even though they don't explicitly say that in the movie because this is a family-friendly movie. Keep that in mind. But yeah, no sober person acts the way that he does. Not that I've seen. So right off the bat, we see Davy Stoney getting himself into trouble with the piggy popo, and they arrest him, and then the next day he's in court, and for whatever reason, the judge decides to give him a little slap on the wrist, and he just gets community service, and he has to be the assistant basketball coach to the town's junior basketball league. And Davy has to work alongside another main character in the movie who is Whitey Duvall, who is pretty much the only tolerable character in this movie aside from his sister Eleanor. We'll talk more about her later. And if you haven't already guessed it, Davy is like the equivalent to the devil in this situation. Like, not that bad, but he's not a good person in the slightest. So him working with Davy, it's like polar opposites. Is this movie entertaining and does it keep my attention? So right off the bat, we see a super cute and charming, cozy little town in the middle of December. It is so cute, and you're just instantly like, oh, this is gonna be a really fun, family-friendly movie, right? No. Quite literally 10 seconds into the movie, we have a white guy voicing an Asian man who is the manager of a Chinese restaurant.
4 scorpion ball in 5 minutes? That's gotta be a restaurant record.
I'm sorry, I'm just, wow. Rereading my script, this is a movie that happened. So anyways, right after that happens, Davy, who is already intoxicated in the beginning of the movie at this Chinese restaurant, he dines and dashes. So he doesn't support small businesses. He walks out of the restaurant, as dining and dashing is, and he sees the popo and oink oink, and then he does a black scent. What?
All right, baby, but let's make this quick. Oh, mama, you like it when I hold you like this? 'Cause I'll do it all night long.
And then if you thought that was wild, literally seconds later, I don't know if he's like continuously drinking when the camera is not on him or something, but he then starts making out with his car, and it looks like it's about to go further than that, if you catch my drift. Tokyo Drift. This movie is not like Tokyo Drift.
So sweet. Yeah, so precious.
And as Davy is making love to his vehicle, I'm as he's doing this, the piggy popo that are just willy-nilly standing outside watching him do this, one of the pigs is brought to tears because of this sight that he seems to be enjoying.
I love you, car.
Stay with me here, okay? Okay? Next day after that happens, or is it the same night? No, it's the same night because he runs away from the cops. And then he assaults strangers. He physically assaults a group of reindeer by pelting them with snowballs. He exposes his nether region to a group of carolers. And then the very next day, he's in court, and for whatever reason, the judge decides to give him a chance for redemption. All of those things alone, prison. But why wasn't he already in prison? I feel like this was not his first time doing this, okay? So he gets a chance to turn it all around, flippity flop, whatever, all because the judge thinks that he has the spirit of the holidays within him, and he's just like, oh, this silly little poor man, just give him one more chance. he should be in prison. And why Davy Stone is not already in jail, I could not give you a valid reason, but to me, it kinda smells, it rather reeks of white male privilege. Did I laugh out loud? What do you think? So before I watched this movie, I was just quickly looking it up on IMDb, not sponsored. And I saw a few reviews, one of which said, I cannot even say 8 crazy jokes about this movie. That was funny. But another one said, it's not that bad, but I agree with all the negative reviews. I mean, it is that bad. I don't know if they were like not watching the movie, they were on their phone while they were watching it or something. It is that bad. So one of the first jokes that they try to crack is a very long burp sequence. As you may have guessed, it's not even funny. It's not funny in the slightest, only fart jokes are funny, okay? Duh. And then because they thought that that was so funny, they then did another really long burp sequence, like literally 5 minutes later when they're in the locker room. And I was really laughing my ass off, slapping my knee. I was hooting and hollering because it was so funny. And speaking of arse, I don't know what this movie's obsession with booties is. I don't know how much I can say on this video, but there are so many references and shots of apple-bottom jeans, boots no fur in this movie. I don't know why. It isn't funny, it's weird. And remember, this is a family-friendly movie. Did this movie make me cry? No, but the only emotions that I conveyed throughout the movie were complete shock, utter horror, and pure disgust. Is the soundtrack good? Aside from some standard copyright-free holiday wintry music in the background, there are actually quite a few original songs for this movie because it is actually a musical. But of course, as you may have guessed, all of the songs are slightly to extremely offensive in one way or another. Is this movie made for all ages? No. I'm not sure who gave it the PG-13 rating. As an adult myself, I wanted to turn the movie off, but I had to watch it for this. I suffered through it. I suffered for their sins. Like, I seriously would never show this movie to anyone under the age of, I'm being generous here, I don't know, 16? And even then, I would require a guardian consent form in order to watch. And then I wouldn't actually show the movie to said person, I would put on literally any other movie. Of course, there's all the obscene things that I've already mentioned, but then they keep trying with these jokes. Not sure who's laughing at it, but one of which, this is a family-friendly movie, yeah, remember that. Davy is like in the locker room or something, and Whitey, the head coach, the guy who he's working with / mentor, trying to make him a good person, he does to him. It wasn't funny. It was never funny. And what I've said so far is so incredibly tame compared to the rest of what I can't even talk. I quite literally feel myself losing energy and motivation as I read the script. Thank God this is the only bad movie we are doing in this tier list today. How is the character design and writing? So for whatever reason, I don't actually have a reason. This is the very first 2D movie that we have reviewed in this animated movie tier list series. And for the most part, all whack things aside, I actually really do enjoy the character design. It's your classic early 2000s animated, you know, it just reminds me of the Goofy movie. Just the animation alone, very charming. But then you actually like have the audio and visuals and the storyline and Davy Stone and you're like, oh. But yeah, quite literally the only characters that I enjoyed seeing on the screen were Whitey Duvall, the head coach / mentor for Davy Stone, and then Whitey's sister, Eleanor, both of which I think they're twins, or I mean they're siblings, I don't know if they're twins, but quite easily the most enjoyable, palatable characters in this movie, and that's that. How is the world design? So this is actually probably the only thing that I enjoyed about this movie aside from Whitey and his sister Eleanor. Like I said, it's very charming. I think it's a very cute town. I would want to be there. I would say it's Hallmark worthy, but I don't think they would ever do a movie like this. Is there any misogyny or bigotry? So I have been pretty lucky with the movies that I have watched in the past for this series, especially movies like Arthur Christmas. Like, it's actually family friendly, you know? Nothing whack, nothing that makes you go, ew, nothing that makes you want to turn it off the TV. I kid you not, this is the most notes that I have ever written for a movie in this series. I was baffled. I was constantly pausing the movie to write notes, and I did not even write everything that I saw because it was just so wow. I'm about to dive into some of the most distasteful commentary about a movie ever, and so I completely understand if you do not want to hear this, see this, watch this, whatever. I truly appreciate your support, and if you'd like to skip to the next movie, every other movie aside from this one, very, very nice to watch. So here's the timestamp for that. If you'd like to skip this, no pressure, I totally understand. But I guess I gotta talk about this. So if it wasn't already obvious, I hate this movie and I hate Davy Stone. Wow. Truly one of the worst humans on this planet. He steals from small businesses, he's people, he has animals, he does a black scent, he is pro-cop it seems, and then he borderline, he's a woman by grabbing her melons, and by melons I mean she's holding watermelons and he grabs them, but it is the action that speaks louder than words. Yeah, he still did it. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, he shows his bare apple bottom to carolers. Why is he not in prison? And then, like I also mentioned, he physically assaults a group of deer that are minding their own business. He sees them having fun, enjoying winter, and then he pelts them with snowballs and laughs and runs away like a stupid little poop emoji. I am trying my best to keep this commentary okay for this channel. And at this moment in the movie, I was only 10 minutes in. Okay? So like I also mentioned, Davy is on, not parole. Is it parole? I don't know. He got the stupid slap on the wrist and then he was given a chance for redemption, and so now he's the assistant basketball coach for a children's team, and his first game that he's helping out with on this children's team, he's on the court watching the kids, and a bigger kid happens to trip and fall, thus ending the game, pausing the game. I don't know how basketball works. Hey, better swing. I've got to just do my thing. Davy says to this child, foul on this kid for eating everything in sight. And, hey, jelly jugs, the next time you want to play on my court, you better be wearing a bra. Which, of course, if anyone said that to anyone, they should be in prison. Of course, the kid starts bawling. That is so traumatizing, so hurtful, so demeaning, like adult bully, for real.
He was just kidding, son. You got very nice boobs.
The only bawling this kid should be doing is having fun bawling on the court. Hello? So back to coach/mentor Whitey Duvall. So his character design is so cute, but then they reveal that he has two different size feet, which causes him to sort of wobble when he walks. And then he also talks in a way in which I think is very ableist. And another thing that they love to show time and time again with this character is that whenever he gets riled up, he gets scared, emotions are tense, he starts having seizures and he falls to the ground. And these moments in the movie are supposed to be funny? They're supposed to be comedic moments.
You're so bad. Don't
But then it is later confirmed in the movie that Whitey is a little person when a dumb bitch on the court calls him the M word. And if you weren't aware, the M word is a derogatory term. Do not use it. Little person is the correct term. So then back to the kid that was verbally assaulted by Davy on the basketball court. We later see him shopping at the mall, and he's in a Victoria's Secret trying on a super cute bubblegum pink bra. He looks fabulous. And I don't know if it's either a store employee or a customer, just some dumb bitch, literally rips open the privacy curtain and says,
"Huh? Aren't you a boy?"
Which of course makes the kid so self-conscious, and like he wasn't already traumatized and hurt and belittled from before, it happens once again from another stupid fucking adult, and he runs out of the dressing room crying. Oh my god, I literally feel like my brain is short-circuiting saying everything out loud. We are just about halfway through the misogyny bigotry section, okay? Okay. So, while we are focused on the mall, Whitey and Davy are walking around doing some holiday shopping, checking out all of the food court, restaurants, whatever, yada yada. And then Whitey decides to introduce Davy to some of his own close personal friends, a mother and the son, which is supposed to be Davy's love interest in the movie. I have no fucking idea why. This man does not deserve that. Wow. And as soon as Whitey is done talking to Jennifer, which is the mom, the love interest, she walks away with her son, and then the camera zooms up really close on her blue jeans, yeah? And then Davy makes a very sexualized joke.
Thanks for sharing the holiday spirit, Psycho. Come on, Benjamin. You can help me clean the muffin trays. Bye, Whitey.
See you at the game tomorrow.
I tell you, your girlfriend's backyard isn't sugar-free. That baby looks sweet.
Technical foul! Technical foul!
So funny. So funny. So funny. This is a family movie, remember? So, to absolutely nobody's surprise, unless you have been living under a rock this entire video, there is even more fat phobia and ableism. Later on, they are back at the basketball court, and it's just like the adult playing time, and there is this bigger dude minding his own business, having fun on the court, and looks like he's been balling, not balling, and having a workout, okay? He's out of breath, he's sweaty, whatever. That happens when you move. And then these stupid dumb fucks, adults, grown adults on the other side of the court are literally laughing, making fat phobic jokes about him. Then, about halfway through the movie, we meet Eleanor, which is Whitey Duvall's sister. Love Eleanor. But we finally get to meet her. One of the only positive people in this movie, one of the positive moments. And just like her brother Whitey, whenever she gets excited or whatever, she has a seizure. Knowing this, Davy decides to play a prank on her by giving her a fake can of nuts or something, but there's actually like the snakes that pop out. There's a snake in my boot. Except it's in a can. And this, of course, scares the heebie-jeebies out of her. She falls out of her chair and starts to seizure on the ground, and this time she cannot stop farting, which is supposed to be another comedic moment in the movie. Like, that's just straight up ableism. Like, it's just that. None of the comedic moments, none of the jokes are funny. They are so insensitive, they are so unethical, they are so derogatory, they are so distasteful. And so with this next little note that I wrote down, I was only about halfway through the movie, and I said that if I kept writing everything down and pausing the movie, it would take me hours to get through it. I'm not kidding. I was pausing it and writing so much. So after going through all of that, I'm talking about me, I had to go through all of that. I just decided to skip along the way. I would kind of watch and then I'd skip and skip and skip. So who would have guessed it? Davy gets drunk as a skunk once again. And in the middle of the night, I think it's like literally 2 a.m., obviously past mall hours, the mall is closed, nobody's there. He breaks and enters into the mall again. Why is he not in prison? And he continues to drink out of his little stupid flask, and he starts seeing visions and thinking that Jennifer, the mom, Whitey's friend, his love interest, is actually there. And then he starts like verbally assaulting her even though she's like not even there. And why does my hand look so weird? And then he gets even more drunk and starts hallucinating that like all of the store mascots have come to life and they start to sing a song to him. What? But this is a family movie, a family-friendly movie, right? So finally, on to the next question. Who is the antagonist? Did that one question take me 16 minutes to film? Wow. Who is the antagonist? Can you guess? So, surprise, surprise, it is Davy Stone. I keep wanting to say Davy Jones. Someone put this bitch in a locker. So obviously we have already gone over all the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad things that he has done. And in this moment, when I was writing these notes, I was only a third of the way through. And it was just so like, wow. You want to know what he did? So Davy and Whitey are just going on a stroll talking about Davy's life, all the things that he has done, how he can make himself better. Because, you know, Whitey actually cares and he wants to help this poor, stupid man. And Davy gets so offended by the fact that somebody wants to help him, he pushes this man into a porta potty. Mind you, we're in the middle of winter. He pushes him into the porta potty, locks the door from the outside, doesn't make sense. He kicks the porta potty that has Whitey locked inside, kicks it down a hill, and we all know what's in a porta potty. Okay, so then he's at the bottom of the hill. Davy runs down, lets him out. Of course, Whitey is covered in bullcaca, quite literally. And then Davy makes some stupid remark that, oh, you can't be dirty, let's clean you up. He grabs a hose and sprays him with ice cold water, mixing together the ice and the bullcaca to freeze him in this stupid, nasty little cocoon. I don't even know what else I can say. I've already said so much about Davy Stone. All I want for Christmas, I'm sorry, no, this is a Hanukkah movie. All I want for Christmas is for Krampus to visit him. Is the cast and characters all white? So the characters, yeah. I mean, the cast, yeah. It's an all-white cast voicing a mostly all-white character group. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm literally short-circuiting. And then an Asian man. Here's a fun little fact for you. If you didn't know this about Adam Sandler, I learned this when I did episode 5, the previous episode, which had Halloween movies, including all of Hotel Transylvania, which he also did. Adam Sandler loves to include everyone that he knows personally in his movies. Whether you're his friend, his wife, his children, you're going to be in his movies. And that could be a super wonderful thing, except that a lot of the people that he associates himself with, himself included, not good people, at least in 2002. That's putting it nicely. Like, I'm honestly speechless. I cannot comprehend how this movie was given the okie dokie to be released for people to watch. This family-friendly movie. And when I was looking at the cast credits, whatever, I was actually so surprised to see that Ben Stiller was not in this movie. If you didn't know this, he was in the Zoolander movies. I think it was about a year ago, my sibling and I decided to watch those movies because for whatever reason, they were like trending big time. Like everyone was like, oh my god, Zoolander is such a good movie. What? We could not. We had to exit out about halfway through. It was one thing after another. If you thought this movie was offensive, holy shit. It is nothing compared to Zoolander 1. Oh my god, I don't know how that movie was trending. I don't know how people are saying that it was funny, that it was like such a enjoyable time to rewatch it. I don't know how you could think that unless you're just a bigot. Like, quite literally, I don't understand. That movie is gross. Does the film speak on any relevant issues, morals, or topics? I don't even know what to say. Of course, there are so many ableist moments in the movie that they could have flipped it around and be like, hey, being ableist is so gross and not okay, and they could have done something with that. Then they also had so much fat phobia, and they could have done the same thing, that hey, it's really gross and not okay. I don't know what the moral or lesson is for this movie. I could not tell you. I don't know. Do I refer to this movie in everyday life? Hell no. The only reference that I will be making in regards to this movie is referring people to quite literally any other movie, aside from Zoolander. When I'm done watching, how do I feel? I could not be more relieved to have finished this movie. It was an absolute shit show. It was a dumpster fire. I'm speechless. You know what I'm saying? This movie is so emotionally draining. It is an energy vampire of a movie, truly. When I was done watching this, like, I could not go to bed having this be the last thing that I set my eyes on that day. I had to watch something 180, something funny, enjoyable, heartwarming, entertaining, fabulous. And that is the Looney Tunes show. Highly recommend. Go watch that instead of this. So sometimes with movies, I have little extra things that I like to mention that don't really fit in with the other criteria, and of course, I have more to mention. So towards the end of the movie, this was the part that I was kind of skipping through because I could not do that to myself. I would rather receive coal in my stocking. So Davy and his love interest, Jennifer, Whitey's friend, they have like a reunion homecoming song. I'm not sure why. Like, everyone in the mall is singing, and this random guy, he says, "My darling wife was once a he." It was so random, but I'm like, okay, trans rights? This movie is exhausting. So about 4/5 of the way through, when we get to see more of Eleanor, which is Whitey's sister, and their super cute house. Oh my god, I love their house. Of course, there's more ableism, and then Eleanor says to Davy, because they are so graciously allowing him to stay the night and are providing him with love and food and a warm place to stay, even though he is a shit person. That's putting it nicely, I think. Of course, he makes more ableist jokes, and then Eleanor says to Davy, "Oh, by the way, this is an alcohol-free house. Please don't drink in my house." And as soon as she says that, he whips out his flask and starts to drink in front of her. Oh god. So I mentioned this movie likes to focus on apple bottoms quite often, so I mentioned the deer that Davy assaulted earlier in the movie, and they come back. I don't know if they're actually magical deer. I don't know. I might have skipped through that part. I don't know. They're dropping Lincoln Logs #2, and for whatever fucked up reason, the animators decided to animate that sequence of dropping logs very up close, and it showed details. I don't know how much I can say. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, good for you. Oh, and then one thing, I guess this movie was trending like 2 or 3 years ago, because at the very end, oh my god, I've been recording this for so long. At the very end, they're having like a holiday party with like everyone in town. I'll have to look this up. I don't know if it is a part of Hanukkah, or I don't know. They did the biddy biddy bum bum song, and that audio was trending like hardcore like 2 or 3 years ago, and I didn't know it was from that movie. Bum, biddy, 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 bum, bum. And to rate this movie, I will never ever ever get that hour back. I usually say an hour and a half because all animated movies are like an hour and a half. This one was only an hour, but because I had to keep pausing it and writing so many notes, it took me 2.5 hours to watch it. And I didn't even watch the whole thing because I skipped through a quarter of it. So if you know of any good Hanukkah movies, live action or animated, I'm open to anything. Please feel free to comment down below because I would love to check it out. I don't know why people like this movie. I don't know. So let's go to the next movie. I'm so fucking done talking about this. It's me, the Grinch. JK, it's actually my pillow. So the very next movie that we have to review is The Grinch, which came out on November 9th, 2018 from Illumination! Okay, before I watched it this time around for this video, I think I've only seen it once, and that was when it came out. I didn't know it was from Illumination. And prior to this, I truly believed that Illumination could never make a bad movie. So let's get into it. So what are the overall ratings and age group for this movie? That is PG, which stands for painfully glum. Is the movie entertaining and does it keep my attention the entire time? Well, to start out, we have the Illumination intro that has that's Kevin. It has Bob the Minion and Snowball the Bunny from The Secret Life of Pets. Has anyone seen The Secret Life of Pets 2? It's actually funny! Which you can watch in episode 4 or 3.
Illumination! Yeah! Illumination! Huh? Oh, man. Aw, poochie poochie goo. Whoa.
But then the movie actually begins, and it is so instantly captivating. We have these cute little Dr. Seuss snowbirds, but their little feet are skis, and they ski down a hill, and then they soar into Whoville. I mean, the animation is just so beautiful and enchanting and charming. I mean, it's Dr. Seuss and Illumination. Those two things together, you can't go wrong. And yet somehow this movie still happened. But who did the Lorax movie? Was that? I don't think that was Illumination. Or was it? I don't know. I will definitely have to include that in a future episode. I already know what the theme will be for that one. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's focus on this. But to add on to that, I mean, it's Dr. Seuss. So we have all of the iconic, classic machinery, gizmos, gadgets galore. They have a snowball making machine. Everyone's like cutesy little outfits. They're just, it's so charming. It's Dr. Seuss. You gotta love it. But also in that beginning scene when it first shows Whoville, like everything just reminded me of the Robots movie, which I did do in one of those episodes. So if you don't know the story of the Grinch, get with it. But it's not like this movie. The original story of The Grinch, the book, I'm talking about the book, it's just a classic. You gotta know it, you gotta love it. And then, of course, they had the 2002 live action, which I have some thoughts about. And then we have this animated movie that came out 16 years later. Yeah, I can do math. I don't know, they just decided to do something different with this. And with the original story, the book, I guess it's more similar to that than the live action movie, because the live action movie, it has Cindy Lou Who, she's still in this movie, thank God, but it shows her father. Her father is the girl boss of the story, but in this movie, it's her mom, and it just shows how every day she's struggling to barely like keep up with everything. She has so many jobs. She has the job of being a mother, the caretaker of the home, which is totally fine. I don't know. This is the multiverse of Whoville. I don't know. But when it showed her mom, Cindy Lou Who's mom, doing all of these different things, taking care of the kids, even the big house, all of the contraptions that she has to help her along the way, I'm just like, bro, this is literally Mama Rosita from the Sing movie, which I also did in a previous episode. Did I laugh out loud like Hilary Duff? No. The only time I giggled, I audibly laughed, showed joy, was in the beginning when the Grinch is being the Grinch and he throws a snowball at this kid and the kid falls over into the snow. I find that to be really funny.
You're a mean one, mister.
But every other comedic moment that happens in the movie, I'm just like, oh, this was made for 3-year-olds. Did it make me cry? No. My heartstrings were not strung in the slightest. This... Is the soundtrack good? The soundtrack is actually pretty good. I mean, they have almost every single like iconic Christmas song from like early 2000s prior. So nothing like, they don't have Santa tell me if you're really there. So make me fall in love again if he will be here next year. I've been down this road before, fell in love on Christmas night. I woke up and it wasn't by my side. Now I need someone to hold, be my fire in the cold. But then they also have some original music for the movie, and I don't think it's from Pharrell. Like, I don't think Pharrell had anything to do with this, but with Despicable Me, the Minions, their music, it's so that. Like, you hear that music, you're like, oh, Despicable Me, Minions, yes, Illumination. This is Illumination, but it's like, are they trying to do that with every Illumination movie now? I don't know. So that's all I could think of. Like, when the music would play, I would think like, oh, Gru is going to do something. But then the cherry on top, they had pentatonics. It's a pentatonics Christmas. Oh my god. I forgot they had that entire scene when the Grinch is like being chased out of Whoville. Like a bunch of Whos are like caroling and like kind of like surrounding him. It's kind of intense of a scene, not gonna lie. They're like,
God rest ye merry gentlemen.
Tidings of comfort.
and it's rather intense, but it's pentatonic singing it, and so I'm like, okay. Is this movie made for all ages? I'm honestly not quite sure this movie is made for. Like I said, a lot of the comedic moments are made for like 3-year-olds, and then they try to do like comedic moments for an older crowd. When the Grinch is in his little cave home, whatever, he's on the organ and it's all by myself. Good song, but it's like obviously young kids won't know that, only, you know, grown people will know it probably. And then it's just like, that wasn't even funny. I don't know. They needed some fart jokes in this movie and there weren't any. How is the character design and writing? My goodness. So, yeah, Who's from Whoville have a very particular look. Usually more of a pointed snout, wild, wacky hair, very fun, fashionable clothing and everything. Usually some fun makeup. They got that correct with the architecture, but then it's like they forgot that with the characters. I don't know why. Like, wow. Even Cindy Lou Who, she just has 2 little braids, and like, yeah, it's cute, but her hairstyle is the most expressive, I guess, in all of Whoville in this movie. It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, they could have done something so fun. And then it's like the background characters, they have like a classic like 50s, 60s, almost like beehive swoopy going on. It's like, yeah, that's fun, but that isn't Whoville. Like, did they spent like 5 minutes on the character design? I don't get it. Oh my goodness. And speaking of Cindy Lou Who, I mean, she's cute. Yeah, very fun in this movie. Probably one of the only funny characters, I would say. But she is absolutely nothing compared to Cindy Lou Who, 2002 live action played by Taylor Momsen, okay? She is nothing compared to her. Also, speaking of that, Taylor just dropped she collabed with herself from 2002 to now, and she like made it a rock version, and I saw the music video and it made me cry, and I'm like, oh my god, she is Cindy Lou Who. You can't top that, okay? And it's like, they didn't even try. Where are you, Christmas? Why can't I find you? Why have you gone away? My world is changing. I'm rearranging. Does that mean Christmas changes too? How is the world design? Probably the only good thing about this movie. Oh my god. Illumination decided to actually work with Dr. Seuss. I know he's not really here anymore, But like, it's like they actually looked at the books and they're like, oh, that's what we should do. Because they obviously didn't do that with the characters. But the world building is so magical. The buildings, their houses, the architecture, even like the giant snowy mountains, the foliage, even the little critters. I guess that would be character design, but like that's Dr. Seuss for sure. Great job. Is there any misogyny or bigotry? Not gonna lie, I might have dozed off for like 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I swear. I didn't pick up on anything. Nothing seemed wacky. Yeah, I think it was okay. Who is the antagonist? If you don't know the story of Grinch, it's the Grinch. Basically, he is like Ebenezer Scrooge, bah humbug. He is B-I-C-T-H, okay?
Yes, she is a bitch. B-I-C-T-H.
He is evil. And like literally, he like terrorizes and torments people, and he steals their holiday gifts and decorations, and he tries to sabotage everything. But in this movie, I'm not excusing his behavior. He had a backstory in the live action, small tangent. Live action, it shows him as a kid, and obviously he was the only green furry being in Whoville. Unless I totally missed out on the rest of the lore there, he just got bullied because he was different. But in this movie, it's actually rather sad. Didn't make me cry though, but I was just like, I was just like, He grew up in the foster system. It's in Whoville, mind you. For whatever reason, they didn't think to decorate the foster home. They didn't think to invite these kids to join in on the festivities. But also, from what they showed, it looked like he was the only kid in that foster home. So I'm like, are all the Who's like racist or something? Like, why don't you want to adopt this green furry kid? Are the cast and characters all white? I will really have to do a deep dive and look at the background characters, but oh, pardon me. From what I saw, I feel like there was a good mix of Who's, maybe? Well, and then the cast. If you didn't know this, I unfortunately looked this up before watching the movie and then it's all I could think about, but the guy who voices the Grinch, Benedict Cumberbatch. Bitch. B-I-C-T-H. If you don't know, this is all alleged. Allegedly, maybe, possibly, but it's alleged. You know? But honestly, his voicing of the Grinch, like, it isn't bad. It's not Jim Carrey, obviously. But, like, the entire time, I would just envision Bill Hader, which I think he would have knocked this role out of the park. However, if you didn't know, they are doing an animated Cat in the Hat movie, and Bill Hader is voicing the Cat in the Hat. So I'm excited for that. Ah! Is that Illumination? I don't know. Kelly, look that up. Is that Illumination too? Let's see. Does the film speak on any relevant issues, morals, or topics? Definitely. Pretty much it's like, I wonder how it feels to be a hater. Something so sweet about thinking that you're better. Just as long as I got my ego and it tells me I'm superior, I could probably go a lifetime being barely mediocre. There's just something about thinking that I'm better. And when I'm 99 and waste of time, really good song, really good song. But yeah, that's basically it. Like, haters gonna hate. Just be open to people who want to share their love and friendship and who welcome you. Yeah. Do I refer to this movie in everyday life? No. But one thing that I would love to refer you to is my video from last December where I did a Martha May Whovier cosplay. She's not in this movie, by the way. Martha May Whovier is not here in this movie. So yeah, no wonder it wasn't good. When I'm done watching, how do I feel? It was a movie that happened, and I already knew the story. They didn't really add anything fun or exciting. The characters were wah. It wasn't funny. Martha May Whovier was not in it. And then some things to mention, and something very important that I have to point out because I have not witnessed this in any other Grinch lore, movie, nothing. So if you, again, didn't know, this is what the Grinch looks like. So in the book, in the live action, I don't know what other Grinch content there is, but that's what he looks like. In this movie, it shows him getting ready in the morning, and he opens his closet, and it is full of pants, stockings, leggings, I guess, that look exactly like his fur. And he puts that on. And later on, it shows him buying green hair dye. And like, yeah, fur loses its color over time, sure. Okay, so where did he get those pants from? And is he even green at all? What if he was blue? What if he was orange? What if he is actually a snowman and he lives in the winter cave and he wants to be like a Who, and he thought, oh, if I turn myself green, then I'll be a Who. But it shows him when he's the little orphan kid and he's already green. So what's happening there? They don't explain that, and that's just something that I had to point out. Oh, and in my notes, it says, quote, I've been doing this for 53 years. And finally, to rate this movie, I am just gonna say, yeah, that was a movie, because it was not anything more and nothing terrible happened, so it really wasn't anything less. It could have been so good. It could have been so good, but it wasn't, and that was a movie. So the very next movie that we will be reviewing today is The Rise of the Guardians of the Owls of Ga'Hoole. JK. It is actually just The Rise of the Guardians, which came out on November 21st, 2012 from DreamWorks. So what are the overall ratings and age group for this movie? It is actually PG, which stands for Pleasantly Genial. Is this movie... I'm so tired. Is this movie entertaining and does it keep my attention the entire time? Absolutely yes. Right off the bat, the DreamWorks logo, it is Jack Frost. He is the man on the moon. He's not actually the man in the moon, which is a character in this movie. He's just a man sitting on the moon. But it's funny because it's supposed to be like the logo, but it's not him. So this story is all about the spirit of winter, which is Jack Frost, and he was brought to life hundreds of years ago by the man in the moon, not to be mistaken for the man on the moon. This is the man in the moon. But Jack Frost was brought to life by basically being brought up out of an icy lake, and his hair turned white, his skin became icy cold, and he got snow frost powers. And the man on the moon brought him to life because he needed a new guardian. We will get into why, but it's very unfortunate and rather sad because Jack Frost, for literally hundreds of years, has been invisible to every single human on Earth simply because they do not believe in him. That's... But then 300 years later, we are at the North Pole where the rest of the Guardians are, and of course the North Pole is where Santa Claus is. He is alerted by the man in the moon because they have a giant, like, sunroof? That's in a car. Anyways, they can see the man in the moon, and he alerts Santa Claus that, hey, this evil spirit known as Pitch Black has plans to take over the world and spread darkness. So then Santa Claus, he alerts the rest of the Guardians by basically turning on the northern lights. That is how the rest of the Guardians know to come to the North Pole, and I love that. I love that. So the rest of the Guardians, we got Santa, we got Tooth Fairy, the Sandman, Easter Bunny, and now Jack Frost. They are all together. They are the Guardians of the galaxy, not really, just Earth. But it is now their mission to protect the children and basically everyone on Earth from Pitch Black before he spreads perpetual nightmares and darkness and takes away all joy. Sounds like a fun time. Okay, so technically this is not a Christmas movie. This all happens 3 days before Easter, and Easter is a holiday, so it's a holiday movie. Okay? Did I laugh out loud like Hilary Duff? I was giggling quite often, not as much as Arthur Christmas, but this movie is still pretty dang funny. Mostly just like body language, and it's really good humor. They have a lot of witty jokes and commentary and everything. And one of the funniest parts to me is when this little Raggedy Ann doll looking girl, she follows the Guardians without them knowing, and then they're like, uh-oh, we gotta knock her out with some sparkle magic from the Sandman. They have to bring her back to her house, and then as Jack is putting her back into her bed, she falls on the ground.
Sophie, is that you?
I mean, kids falling will never not be funny, okay? And another super funny part, when Jack is first being introduced to the rest of the Guardians, Tooth Fairy basically like zings with him. I don't know. Like LOVE, hello. And the rest of her little fairies, she has these little tiny fairies that are like her helpers, because obviously there are so many kids losing their chompers all the time, so she needs help with all that. But anyways, her little fairies see Jack and they are head over heels. It is so funny. Like throughout the entire movie, they're always like,
well, they really do sparkle like freshly fallen snow. Girls, pull yourselves together. Let's not disgrace the uniform.
did I cry? Yes, I did. I wasn't bawling or anything, but it's just like multiple times tears were brought to my eyes, just because you get so attached to every single one of these characters. They're all so likable, and you're just rooting for them. You want the best for them. You want them to succeed, and it's just such a heartwarming movie. Is the soundtrack good? I love it. It is all original theatrical music made for the movie. It's also whimsical and magical. It's so wintry and fun, and it really just adds to the plot and everything. I really enjoyed it. Is this movie made for all ages? I would definitely say so. The only thing that could potentially steer me in the other direction, like to say that this wouldn't be made for little kids, is the character Pitch Black. I mean, he is rather spooky looking and everything like that. That's basically the whole premise of the story. Like, you ain't gotta be afraid. There's no reason to be afraid. He's just a boogeyman. Really nothing to be afraid of. I think it's fine. But this movie is just so action-packed and heartwarming. Such a good story. It's so original, so unique. And yeah, made for all ages for sure. How is the character design and writing for this movie? I love it. I love it so much. I said this with Arthur Christmas, but it is so common for children's animated movies for the humanoid characters to all look the same. Like, not very original at all. But this movie, I'm like, it's amazing. This movie was actually based off of a book by Joyce. So yeah, all of the characters, especially the Guardians in this movie, they're just a breath of fresh, minty cool air because they're in the North Pole. Of course, we have Santa Claus, Old Saint Nick. He's just a dilf with tattoos. He's like Russian. The Tooth Fairy is unlike any other Tooth Fairy design that I have ever seen. Dwayne Johnson, don't even try, okay? She's so beautiful and mystical and magical, and I feel like she would fit in perfectly into the epic movie, which I still need to cover. It has Beyonce! And then we have Sandman. I love Sandman in this movie. He is just so cute, and he cannot speak, so he uses his magical dust to like basically do what the Green Lanterns do, and he can make like objects. Yeah, that's how he expresses his emotions, and yeah. The Easter Bunny is Australian, so he has a boomerang. Duh. Jack Frost is Jack Frost. I'm sorry, I don't have anything special to say about him. And then at the North Pole, of course, you have to have Santa's elves, okay? These elves are quite literally just like minions, and I love their design. It's so cute. And they don't actually do anything like elves typically would. So instead, they hired like the Yetis of the North Pole, and they are basically like the elves. They make all the toys and help Santa deliver the stuff, and it's just silly. But another thing about these Yetis, the way that they talk, they just sound like Schnitzel from Chowder. So before I get into the next question, I do need to share this very fun and interesting fact. About half an hour ago, sorry about the background noise, about half an hour ago, I discovered that this movie was not only based off of the book, but it was inspired by an FX short. FX has the movies, and it's called The Man in the Moon. Like I said, I just watched it not even half an hour ago, and it left me feeling rather puzzled because whoever uploaded it, it's the only version that I could find, but the quality is so low. And also, I don't know if the editing was weird or if it was actually made like this, but whoever the narrator is, all the commentary, the audio is so low compared to the music, so I could barely even hear what was being said, and then captions were not available, so I kind of understood what was happening. But basically, it is about this baby floating through space, and he's sitting in a boiler hat, like from Meet the Robinsons. And then he lands on the moon, and then these scary roly-poly-oly looking robots find him, and they're like, "You are our leader now." And they put him in a cave, but then the entire moon looks rather scary. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it just reminds me of Pitch Black, like his whole vibe, his aesthetic and everything. And I don't know. I will have that linked down below for you to watch if you're interested. It's 4 minutes. I don't know. How is the world design? I love it. They knocked it out of the park in this movie. Everything is so beautiful and enchanting, and it's just so charming. Like, of course, we have the North Pole, Santa's workshop. It is so magical. Watching it, I just think of like the Santa Claus live action movies. Those could be horror movies, I'm not gonna lie. But it's just so magical, and that is how Santa's workshop should look. Sorry, Arthur Christmas. But then we see the Tooth Fairy's palace area. It quite literally looks like the Air Nomad's temple in Avatar. It is so beautiful. I want to live there. I forgot to mention, but another main character who is the only like human, technically, he's not a guardian, is the kid Jamie, who these guardians are pretty much like watching over mainly. But his hometown is so cute. It is so Hallmark worthy. And if you didn't know this about me, it's in my internal rule book that if an animated movie cannot make the little town, city, whatever look charming and cute, and like if I don't want to live there, it's a flop. But this movie did it beautifully. And then the Easter Bunny, he has his own little grotto, and I read this online. They don't explain it in the movie unless they did, and I just totally missed it. But so he currently lives on Earth. Apparently he's like an alien bunny, a space bunny. I don't know if this lore is from the book. I don't know. It definitely was not in the movie. But he lives on Earth, and his little Easter egg grotto is underground under Australia. And he can like tap his little rabbit foot, and then a hole will appear, and then he can jump in, and then he'll be like, I don't know, at Ruby Tuesdays or something. I don't know. And then of course with Jack Frost, his own hometown, which isn't really a town, it's just his house, and then a beautiful forest. So beautiful. And it's just so charming and great world building. Any misogyny or bigotry? No! Oh my gosh, yes. So I hadn't seen this movie in about 8 years, I think, and going into it I was kind of skeptical because I truly did not remember much about the commentary. Like, I remembered the plot, but I don't know, like I was skeptical. But it was so refreshing to just, you know, enjoy a movie. Unlike 8 Crazy Nights. Who is the antagonist? It is Pitch Black, who is voiced by Mr. Jude Law. And again, I don't know if I said this in the movie, I was doing research, okay? And I think it's in the book. His full name is Cosmodus Pitchener. fun. Maybe they call him that once in the movie, but the rest of the movie he's just Pitch or Pitch Black. Or the Boogeyman. And as you may know, the Boogeyman just loves to haunt children's dreams and give them nightmares and, you know, just silly, goofy things. And of course, looking at him, his appearance alone is so eerie and spooky, but also Mr. Jude Law. And he has a cute little black cloak that he wears that helps him to like blend in with the shadows, you know, what we do in the shadows. And I think that is just so unique and very cool character design. So a little backstory with Pitch Black, way back in the day. He was like the HBIC before all the other Guardians, okay? Yeah, scary. So everything was dark, sad, depressing, lonely, scary, frightening. Obviously, the people on Earth were like, no way, Jose, and they were so scared all the time. Oh. Until one day, the man in the moon decided to pop off, and then he made the rest of the Guardians before Jack Frost. And basically, the Guardians they turned that frown upside down, and everything was fine. And they referred to Pitch as just a bad dream, and that's what they told all the humans, like, uh-oh, he's just a bad dream, he's not even anything real, which of course crushed his little ego. But the main reason that I do not like Pitch Black is because he tried to mess with my main HBIC, the Sandman, okay? I love the Sandman, and they're like polar opposites. We got nightmares, we got daydreams. Oh, but yeah, he basically sucked the living life out of Sandman and caused him to like no longer have powers and stuff. So all these kids are having nightmares. But with the nightmares, I love this. I love this about this movie. So Pitch Black's like henchmen or whatever are literal nightmares, like mare a horse, and they're all like black and spooky and eerie, and I love it. They are nightmares. Is the cast and characters all white? So this is like the only thing that I don't really care for in this movie. Like in the background and like Jamie, the humans town, whatever, there's like maybe 3 people of color, and then Jamie has his like friend group, and he has one black friend, Caleb, I think is his name, and that's it. And then the cast is also not diverse in the slightest, but it is an all-star cast. And I know, especially with animated movies, having like an all-star cast is probably the easiest way for said movie to make big bucks, but the casting in this movie I think is phenomenal. They did such a good job. So we have Chris Pine voicing Jack Frost. Chris as in Kris Kringle, Pine as in pine tree, as in what people would typically use for their Christmas tree. So that was cool, but wow, Chris Pine.
Oh, Mr. Incredible, oh, Mr. Incredible.
And then we have Boss Baby, who is Alec Baldwin, and he voices North. West? No, JK. Santa Claus. They call him North. They all have these quirky little nicknames. And then, like I mentioned, for Pitch Black, he is voiced by Jude Law, Mr. Jude Law, the Law of Jude. And then for Tooth Fairy, she is voiced by Isla Fisher, who is Mary Jane in the live-action Scooby-Doo.
I'm Mary Jane.
Like, that is my favorite name.
Really?
Yeah.
And then to top it all off, we have the king from Down Under, the man whose bones are made from adamantium, and what's his name? P.T. Barnum? That's a movie. It's Hugh Jackman, and he voices the Easter Bunny because he's Australian, and Hugh Jackman is Australian. And it's just so ha 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 he he because you wouldn't expect the Easter Bunny to be from Australia. I don't know where he would be from, but he's from Australia, along with all of these other people like Kylie Minogue, Jacob Elordi, Mike's Mike, Keith Urban, Jeff Fatt, who is the Purple Wiggle, and okay, I love the Wiggles. It was one of my favorite shows growing up. And Jeff Fat, the guy who plays the Purple Wiggle, there was a guy who could be his twin, and he worked at Olive Garden. I always thought he was the Purple Wiggle just working at Olive Garden, so. But also from Australia, Rebel Wilson, the H2O girls, Cleo, Ricky, Emma, and Loris, and Zayn, not Malik. And then also, I was looking up Australian people. Did you guys know that Nicole Kidman is from Australia? When did that happen? And also, Isla Fisher is Australian, the Tooth Fairy. Does the film speak on any relevant issues, morals, or topics? Yes, and the whole message is, you just gotta believe. Like Mindy the Mermaid. But also, more primarily, the Guardians, like this is their whole business, and before they were just working for the business, but then with Pitch Black, when he came around, they started working within the business for the people that the business serves, so like the children, they really started to care about the children. And yeah, at the end of the movie, they are literally working with the children believe, you just gotta believe, so it's all just like full circle. Do I refer to this movie in everyday life? No, but everyone and their mama did in 2012. Do you guys recall those edits of Jack Frost when he was dating Mavis? Or when he was dating Rapunzel? Or when he was dating Elsa? There are probably so many others. I just remember how big that sort of like editing ship was when this movie came out. The early 2010s were something. But also, when I was looking at funny clips for this movie so that I could include very specific things, someone made a whole compilation of every time in this movie when Jack Frost and Easter Bunny have they were roommates sort of situation. When I'm done watching, how do I feel? I just had a smile on my face, a grin on my chin. It is just such an amazingly unique story with such wonderful characters and amazing character growth. We don't really see that often, unfortunately, and it's just so visually appealing. It's so magical and inspiring and heartwarming, and I love it. And to answer the day-old question, is that the age? The age-old question or the day-old question? Are you climbing my tree? So to answer that question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's the egg, because they all come from Australia. That's where all eggs come from, actually. So, now you know. And to rate this movie, I will gladly be putting it up at the top in the perfect family harmony. We are ending off episode 6 of this animated movie tier list series on a very high note. We are ending off episode 6 of this animated movie tier list series episode on a very high note, so get ready for Tokyo Godfathers, which came out on November 8th, 2003 from Genco. So for overall ratings and age group for this movie, it is once again PG-13, which stands for Positively Genuine. 13. Is the movie entertaining and does it keep my attention the entire time? It most certainly did. It is beautiful, wonderful, absolutely charming early 2000s Japanese animation, and it's I love it. The movie begins with the creators of the movie, the voice actors, everyone that was involved with the movie. Their credits are shown throughout the town, throughout Tokyo, on billboards and neon signs, and I think that is so cute. I love it so much. And this movie is just so wonderful because right off the bat, one of the 3 main characters in this movie is Hannah, and we get wonderful trans representation with her. And one of the very first things that Hannah says is, "I'm a mistake made by God, but in my heart, I am a woman." Yes, she is, and I just love that so much. Since this movie came out in 2003, I decided to do some research on queer and transgender representation in Japan, and I found out that in the mid to late 1800s, it was actually criminalized to be queer, be trans, all that goodness. And it was only recently, normalized per se, non-criminalized But unfortunately, queer people still do not have all of the same rights that a cisgendered couple would have. They don't have the same legal rights and everything like that. So that very much sucks. However, within doing this research, I found that being trans was more so accepted and normalized in 2004, which is 1 year after this movie came out. So unfortunately, this movie does have a lot of accurate discrimination against trans and queer people, if that makes sense. But Hannah, one of the three main characters, is easily my favorite in this movie, and it seems that it's the same for so many others who have seen the film. And she's just so full of love and like compassion, and she's such a sensitive individual who deeply cares for every single person that comes into her life. And despite all of the very frustrating and irritating moments throughout the movie where she is not respected by those around her, she still continues to persevere and have a smile on her face despite all of those trash can people. Of course, she still has her flaws, as any person would have, but it's just such great trans representation, especially for a film made in 2003. So Hannah, one of the three main characters, is homeless and she lives in a homeless camp with a few other people. The second character is Miyuki, and I love her character. She's very funny, easily one of the most witty characters in the movie. But with her backstory, when she was younger, she did live with her parents and she got into a fight with her dad. Things escalated quickly, and I don't know how much I can say on here, but she defended herself, and that both traumatized her and her dad so much that she ran away and has ever since been homeless, living with Hannah and Jin, who is another main character. So I'll dive into Jin's backstory in a bit. However, he is just an alcoholic. He's mean, not like Dave Stoney, like he's not evil like that, but he's definitely mean and But with the plot, the main point of the plot is that when this trio, they're ootin' a boot one day, walking through the snow, they find, it looks like a storage container area, or maybe it's like a donation center, I'm not exactly sure. They're rummaging around stuff to like find necessities, of course, and then they hear a baby cry. Somebody left their baby in this donation center place. I don't know, you can't really donate babies. And so Hannah, she knows that she cannot physically have a child herself, so she takes this baby as her own. The other two are quite opposed to it, and they're like, you need to find the actual parents, and along the way they're finding clues that will lead them to the baby's family. Did I laugh out loud like Hilary Duff? Absolutely. I was laughing quite often during this movie. It is such a witty movie. There are so many little jokes. The body language is amazing in this movie. All the facial expressions and everything. It's just comedy gold. So as the story is progressing, this group of three, they encounter a mob boss who is trapped under his car because it rolled on top of him due to the snow and everything. They save him by pushing the car off of him, and he is so thankful and grateful that he invites these three strangers to his daughter's wedding. And as that plotline progresses, there is a maid who is working at this wedding who's actually an undercover Hispanic dude. And he then captures Miyuki. He's holding her hostage, if you get my gist. And he's speaking in Spanish the entire time. Miyuki has no idea what he is saying, but then he finally lets her go, and in English she says, "Thank you very much." And Jin, the alcoholic man, he very questionable things that he does and says, and at one point he's like defending the police or like praising the pigs in some kind of way, and then Hannah says to him, if you like the cops so much, why don't you get them to adopt you? No, literally. Okay, another funny but extremely sad part in this movie. This movie, it's either incredibly funny or it is incredibly devastatingly sad. Like, it's flip-flopping. It's a good balance though. So it's a very good equal amount of sad and happy. Cue Casey Musgraves, happy and sad. Is there a word for the way that I'm feeling tonight? Happy and sad at the same time. Literally this movie. But when the trio has split off on their own and they're just trying to figure stuff out for themselves, Jin encounters this very, very old homeless man living in his tent, and he's trying to like ask him questions, get clues, all that stuff. And it's funny, okay? This old man sees that Jin has a bottle of liquor, and I think it's so funny that this guy's name is Jin, because that's a type of liquor. It's funny. I don't know if they intended for that to happen, but I think it's funny. But the old man sees that he has a bottle of something, and he's like,
I'm on my deathbed, give me a drink so I can die drunk.
And I'm like, okay, word. He takes a sip, and then he's like loosey-goosey, just yapping away. He's talking to Jin, and this scene is like the third Shrek when Fiona's dad is a frog and he keeps dying and coming back to life. It's funny, okay? He keeps like nodding off, and then Jin thinks he's dying, but then he'll be like, and then go back to talking. But then finally, when he actually does pass away, he dies with his eyes open, and then he has to close his eyes. It's supposed to be funny, but then the scene that follows is so... Let's go on to the next question. Did I cry? Yes, a whole lot. This movie is very emotional. The scene I was just talking about with Jin and the old man, he passes away, and the scene that follows is so... It is so infuriatingly sad and depressing, and it just makes me enraged. So as Jin is saying his final goodbyes to this old man that he was just talking to, he exits the tent, and there are a group of like 4 to 5 grown adult men who are drunk off their rockers, and they start beating up Jin bad. To the point where he can like barely even talk and open his eyes. He can barely even walk. And then one of the stupid fucks that are beating him up notices that, oh hey, there's an old man in this tent. They don't know that he literally just passed away. Oh my god. One of those guys drags him out of the tent and they start beating him. It's such a sick scene. I'm gonna cry if I keep talking about it. It's terrible. But to go on a lighter note here, this movie also made me cry because of how heartwarming it is. Like, there are so many scenes that just fill you with optimism and joy and just make your heart melt. Like I just mentioned a little bit earlier, when Miyuki was being abducted by this guy, basically, he brings her back to his house. I don't know if it's his house. I think so. Miyuki then bonds with this older woman. She's just a woman, a grown woman who also speaks Spanish. Miyuki does not speak Spanish. She does not know what she's saying. They can't really communicate, except that they do through their facial expressions and their emotions and everything. And it's just such a beautiful scene because they are connecting through this baby that this mother is nursing. Miyuki's telling her about her childhood and everything that happened with her family, and it totally seems like they fully understand each other, but they can't quite actively express everything accurately. Does this make sense? They don't speak each other's language, okay? It's just such a lovely, heartwarming scene, and it's moments like this in the movie that you're just filled with joy. Is the soundtrack good? I love it. I love it so much. I believe it's all original music for the movie. I couldn't quite find an accurate, like, I can't think. Gears crank. Okay, I'm blaming this on Aunt Flo, who's about to come to town. Like, I'm losing all my energy and I cannot think. An accurate source! Wow. Okay, I could not find an accurate source to legitimize if these movies, or if the soundtrack was all original made for the movie. I'm not quite sure. However, it is all so beautiful and wonderful. It's all instrumental music. There is some singing in it, like the very first scene when this group, at least it's Hannah and Jin, they're in the local church and they're watching all of these little choir kids sing Holy Night by Josh Groban. JK. Where my Josh Groban fans at? But the music is so wonderful and amazing. It's so charming, and it absolutely fits with every single kind of mood that is happening, whether it's something that's super silly and goofy, if it is full of joy, if it's an action-packed scene, if it's very melancholy, depressing. It just, the music is perfect in this movie. Is this movie made for all ages? I think the PG-13 rating is accurate because there are certainly more adult topics in this movie, like Jin and his drinking problems and just other adult topics. But on the other hand, I think this is a perfect movie to watch as a family, especially to those in your family who may be living under a rock and you need to open their eyes to the real world. So in that fact, it is made for all ages, but I don't know if you would want to show this to like a tiny tot, you know? How is the character design and writing? I love it so much. Beautiful early 2000s Japanese animation. It's just so incredibly detailed and amazing, and like their facial expressions. I love it so much. It is so charming and I love it. And speaking of details, the way that their hair blows in the wind, their facial expressions, the way their clothing moves, the way that they themselves move and walk and everything, it's just really amazing and makes you appreciate 2D animation so much more because of all the hard work and dedication that goes into it, all the research involved. It's just amazing. How is the world design? Tokyo in winter, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Everything is just covered in snow, all the beautiful city lights, all of the different scenery that they walk through. There's like train stations, there's downtown, there's a park, there's a beautiful little cemetery. They visit different houses and people and everything. It's so charming and I love it. Any misogyny or bigotry? Yeah, there's a crap ton. However, everyone who is a bigot does get their comeuppance and they learn their lesson, but it still sucks because there's so much. Jin, we've talked about Jin. Literally in the first like 2 minutes, I think, he says the F slur to Hannah. And then moments later, he A-words the other main teenage character, Miyuki, by grabbing her chest. He thinks it's so funny. I would love to go in the boxing ring with Jin. I would love to. I've learned so much from Matt the Boxer. Okay? And yeah, I do not like Jin in the slightest when he's like this. He is an alcoholic and I'm not at all excusing that behavior. Alcohol really just brings out who you truly are. Okay? That's that. However, I do want to talk about his backstory because that obviously has a lot to do with the person that he has become. So in the beginning of the movie, he is coming out to Miyuki and Hannah. Not like coming out, be who you are for your pride, but he is sharing his backstory. And at first, he talks about how he once had a wife and baby daughter, and his daughter became so sick and ill that he needed money, so he went and joined a bike race and he lost or was like kicked out or something. He didn't get any money. His daughter passed away, and then his wife, she took her own life because she was so sad. And that was at the beginning. But then he later reveals the truth that his wife and daughter are still in fact alive. How many years later? I think it's probably at least 20 years. So he's basically like, he's always been an alcoholic and he let that get the best of him. And of course, any parent in their right mind, like the mother, did not want that kind of person around the daughter, so he got booted. And he also lied about the whole bike race thing. He actually used to own a bike shop, and then he got into cahoots with a very bad person who like robbed him of everything, and then that's how he lost all his money and he became homeless. So he's just a liar. His pants are on fire hanging by a telephone wire. And like, yeah, he does have a pretty decent character arc, and at the end of the movie, he does end up finding his long lost daughter. Not really lost, like he could have found her this entire time. He just was a sad little alcoholic man. But yeah, but enough with Jin. As the story progresses, Miyuki starts referring to Hannah as Miss Hannah. Unfortunately, before that, mostly just in the beginning of the movie, Miyuki was referring to Hannah as Uncle Bag. I don't quite understand the relevance of the bag part, Hannah doesn't play bagpipes. Miyuki is now an ally and fully supports Hannah, and that's all we can ask for. That's all we can ask for. I cannot talk. So yeah, there's obviously a lot of misogyny and bigotry and transphobia throughout the movie, and that is just the very sad reality for a majority of trans and queer people. So treat people the way you want to be treated. Trans people are people. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to the earth. Who is the antagonist? The system. Obviously, homelessness is so different for so many people around the world. In the US here, wow, but in Japan it isn't that much different, at least in 2003 from what I have read and everything and what I've seen in this movie. Fuck the system. I recently saw, oh gosh, I'll have to find it. I don't know where it was. I feel like it had to have been in Washington. It was just giving Washington vibes. Washington, the whale state, not Washington fuck ass DC. They started paying homeless people to clean up litter, and then it said that a majority of the people that they were paying can now afford housing of their own. And I just think that is so wonderful. Such an easy and ethical solution. Fuck the system. And also fuck everyone who was transphobic to Hannah. Is the cast and characters all white? All Asian people voicing all Asian people. We love to see it. Does the film speak on any relevant issues, morals, or topics? It most certainly does. So to quote the wonderful Miss Hannah, and she says a lot of quote-worthy things, but one of which is, "Nothing should make you abandon a child. That means you've taken love and tossed it away like trash." Word. Do not have children if you cannot love them unconditionally. Do not adopt children if you cannot love them unconditionally. Unfortunately, and so very sadly, so many people become parents and they cannot love and accept and cherish their own children unconditionally. Children are their own people. You cannot change who they are. You can help shape them into a good person. You can teach them good things, but they are their own person. Yeah? Do I refer to this movie in everyday life? No. This was only my second time watching it. I had watched it around this time last year in 2024 for the very first time, and when I watched it back then, I just fell in love with it, and I knew that I had to include it in one of these episodes, and I'm so glad that I finally could. When I'm done watching, how do I feel? This movie is so uplifting. It melts your heart. It is so Fast and Furious family movie, okay? Truly. And it is just so action-packed. It's full of love and joy and optimism, and it really opens your eyes to so many different perspectives, and there is amazing character growth. I know I've said this a few times. Sometimes movies just don't really touch on character growth. There is lack thereof. But in this movie, great character growth, beautiful world building, amazing storyline and plot. I've never seen anything like this. I love it so much. And quickly before we rank it, there are some things to mention. Now, obviously, these are all holiday movies, most of them being religious based, but this movie is so religious. Literally the first scene, like I said, they're in their local church as they are watching these choir kids who are all dressed as angels singing Holy Night, and then it's a whole church service. But in this movie, they are constantly talking about seeing signs, seeing angels, being #blessed. But all the while, this movie's being super religious based, it is also great queer and trans representation. And just to merge those two things together, especially in 2003, I feel like that is so incredibly powerful. Like, that's how you do it. This movie is just so beautiful, and if you are looking for another animated movie that has wonderful queer and trans representation, then I highly recommend Wendell and Wild, which I did in fact cover in episode 5, the Halloween episode of this animated movie tier list series. Wonderful movie, I love that so much. And to rank this movie, if you could not already guess, I'm putting this up at the tippity top in the perfect family harmony. This is truly such a wonderful movie. I could not recommend it enough. And before you dine and dash, get it like 8 crazy nights. Remember that movie? Before you go, I do want to thank you so much for joining me for this very special episode of my animated movie tier list series, episode 6. I love making these videos so much. I love animated movies. And I love. Obviously, the holiday season can be a whole lot for many people, especially just winter in general. So I want to thank you for joining me, and I hope that you could kick back and relax and have some fun, and maybe you will be intrigued to watch some of these movies, not 8 Crazy Nights. Don't watch that one. Save yourself an hour and a lot of anger, okay? I want to wish you all a super wonderful, beautiful, safe, and happy holiday season. If you have not already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. That'll really help me out. And as always, if you have any animated movie recommendations for me to watch and include in this series, I would love to know. So please comment that down below. You might just get a shout out. And please remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and be kind to the earth. And as always, this is a safe space for people of all identities, and I'm very glad to have you here. Thank you for joining this very small but mighty and super slay community. And if you have not already, please be sure to check out those very important links down below in the description, in the pinned comments, and in my bio. Please check those out and educate yourself on what is happening around the world, and do not stay silent. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your holiday season and have a super slay day. I'll see you when I see you.